considered the ripened fruit of transcendental knowledge. Vyasadeva compiles the Vedas, the Mahabharata, so many texts, and he's feeling morose. He's wondering, why do I feel morose? He's the literary incarnation of God. And Narada Muni comes down, and his spiritual master comes down just then and just chastises him, says, you haven't given us the topmost thing. You haven't given us, the topmost thing is hearing the pastimes of God, of Krishna, his incarnations, hearing. And so you've given a hint, not directly doing that, and that's why you don't feel morose. So here, you need to give us the straight up thing without any, pure devotional service to God, like that. So then he writes Srimad Bhagavatam. It's a huge book, 18,000 verses, it's 12 cantos. This is the 11th canto. So this is a part where it talks about many things. One of the things is that super benefits to what the super intelligent people do with this age we're in now. This is the Kali Yuga age. It's the worst of the ages. There was a time in Satya Yuga way back, and there's a rotation of these 4 ages, like the seasons. The spring's like such a fun, wonderful time. It's like Satya Yuga. Winter's like Kali Yuga, the Yuga we're in now, where we have, just turn on the news, which war do you want to worry about now? And who just got obliterated next door, and, what the government and here or there is doing, and what disease this person now has, and all the rest. It's radical. And it gets worse. Sorry, it's predicted. So, this particular chapter is Narada Muni, who is the transcendental spaceman. He is a pure devotee of the Lord, called the greatest devotee in this universe. He's having a talk with Vasudeva, who is, I believe we're talking about the Vasudeva that's Krishna's father. If I'm not mistaken. You read the 11th canto? Well, anyways, 11th canto. Yeah, okay. It's been a while since I read it. Okay, yeah. So, and he's recording, he's telling him of a dialogue that took place between the Yogendras, which are like super wise beings, and a king. I can't remember the king's name. It was Nimi, but maybe I'm wrong. Nimi? Cool, Nimi, got it right. So, and he's explaining this to teach Vasudeva some things. And I'm just going to start out a little, this is 11th canto stuff, so this will appease anybody here. But it also, you might be wondering why I'm getting a little, one, maybe I didn't prepare well good enough, but 2 is also because I have a plan to lead what I'm leading all this into. And when do I stop? 7:40?
Yeah, you can actually go as long as you like, but whenever you want to do questions.
Okay.
We'll bring Prashadam in here and pass it out to people around 7:55.
Okay. Yeah. There's usually room for questions. Okay, I'll try to do all that timely. So here we have a verse. This is 11th canto, chapter 5, text 12. So here's the Yogendra's teaching. The only proper fruit of acquired wealth is religiosity, on the basis of which one can acquire a philosophical understanding of life that eventually matures into direct perception of the absolute truth, and thus liberation from all suffering. Materialistic persons, however, utilize their wealth simply for the advancement of their family situation. They fail to see that insurmountable death will soon destroy the frail material body. And it gets kind of heavy here, but I'll skip some of the super heavy stuff. The conditioned souls become completely bound in affection to their own corpse-like material bodies and their relatives and paraphernalia. In such a proud and foolish condition, the conditioned souls envy other living entities as well as the Supreme Personality, Godhead, Hari, who resides in the heart of all beings. They thus enviously offending others, the conditioned souls gradually get degraded. That was a quote. I'm paraphrased right there. Those who have not achieved knowledge of the absolute truth, yet who are still beyond the darkness of complete ignorance, generally follow the threefold path of pious material life, namely religiosity, economic development, and sense gratification. Not having time to reflect on any higher purpose, they become the killers of their own soul. The killers of the soul are never peaceful because they consider that human intelligence is ultimately meant for expanding material life. Thus, neglecting their real spiritual duties, they are always in distress. They are filled with great hopes and dreams, but unfortunately, these are all destroyed by the inevitable march of time. Those who have turned away from the Supreme Lord Vasudeva, being under the spell of the Lord's illusory energy, are eventually forced to give up their so-called homes, children, friends, wives, and lovers, which were all created by the illusory potency of the Supreme Lord, and enter against their will into the darkest regions of the universe. So I'm starting with that because showing a contrast. So that's somebody, not including you all, I assume, because you're all here seeking, spiritual life and advancing nicely. So that's one part of the chapter. And then another part of the chapter is as follows. In this age of Kali, the horrible age that we're in, intelligent persons perform congregational chanting to worship the incarnation of Godhead, who constantly sings the names of Krishna. Although his complexion is not blackish, he is Krishna himself. He is accompanied by his associates, servants, weapons, and confidential companions. So this book was compiled 5,000 years ago. And this is a verse talking about the incarnation to come that was here 500 years ago. It was Lord Chaitanya, the person in the middle there of that tall one in yellow. So here, this verse is predicting him coming to this world. There's also, you'll find Gargamuni explaining to Vasudeva, also Krishna's father, the different incarnation, different appearances of Krishna in different ages. And he talks about a yellow incarnation in this Kali Yuga. Now, nothing's listed in Kali Yuga. So what's this? So you find remnants of it occasionally predicting Lord Chaitanya's appearance. And why yellow? Because Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, so get a picture of him somewhere, it's okay. And his eternal consort is Radharani. She's watching. One of the main reasons why Lord Krishna appears as Lord Chaitanya 500 years ago is because as Krishna, he's watching Radharani in complete ecstasy, serving him and loving him. And he's going, I don't get that much ecstasy, but what's going on? I'd like to experience that ecstasy. So he comes down as part Radharani and part himself. And Radharani is a complexion of molten gold. So that's why he has a golden complexion. So, because he's playing the role of Radharani, purely loving himself and experiencing the ecstasy. Now, is that the coolest God possible? That we have a God, of course, God's one. God gives more ecstasy to the servant of God than he himself experiences. That's according to that understanding. So, isn't that cool? Anyway, so here, the intelligent persons perform congregational chanting, just like we were doing, to worship the incarnation of God, who constantly sings the names of Krishna. So Lord Chaitanya constantly chanted Hare Krishna. He got literally everybody in India to chant Hare Krishna. And he wanted everybody from India to share that all over the world. And of course, the great Srila Prabhupada did just that. And he wants, and he knows that here we are, intelligent persons have taken this up. And the super duper wise ones are trying to spread it because they know they found Krishna. Krishna is his name. He is his name. And this is as the first meeting Prabhupada had with his guru, the first meeting right there. His guru says, give this knowledge to the others. That's what's best for you, and that will be best for them. Right at the very first meeting. Can you imagine that? You haven't even accepted as not even a follower or anything. It's an amazing being. Giving you the instruction to give it, because that's what's best for us and best for the world, is sharing it, spreading it. And by spreading, as Prabhupada says, the more we give Krishna to others, the more we get Krishna. What will give Krishna more pleasure? Us sitting alone in our room going, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, or you get 1,000 people to chant Hare Krishna, which will be more pleasing to Krishna. Right? Magnify it. Get the whole universe to reverberate the holy name of the Lord in ecstasy. In fact, in some of their kirtans, that was actually accomplished, where literally it penetrated through the layers of the universe, their kirtans. So we're dealing with there's the 5 there, the Panchatattva, Lord Chaitanya. Since his expansions, that's God also, Lord Nityananda, and another expansion, God Advaitacharya, that's Radharani right there. And then that's the pure devotee Narada Muni who's explaining to Vasudeva this. So that's a Srivas Thakur, but in his real whatever, that's just a pastime for this age, like a road show. Today, this millennium, we're going to play this. And then Krishna comes in, we're going to play this now. And so all his associates get to play roles to carry out Krishna's pastimes. Talking about ecstasy. And we can actually enter into the pastimes of God and this is where it gets, what is the right word? Doesn't get any better. Does not get any better than entering into the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya and Krishna. Literally, by chanting Hare Krishna, by taking to this, one literally can see very clearly Lord Chaitanya dancing, and you literally enter into that dimension. So that's seeing the pastimes of Krishna, chanting Hare Krishna, watching Krishna run away from Mother Yasoda with a stick when Krishna was real naughty, watching this pastime, just as you're chanting Hare Krishna. Seeing the pastimes of Krishna, remembering that Vyasadeva is feeling morose after compiling all these, not a lot of them weren't mundane, but some of them were mundane. It wasn't giving him that thrill, but the highest ecstasy is literally watching the pastimes of Krishna, hearing about the pastimes of Krishna. So I really recommend everybody to get this Srimad Bhagavatam. It's all about the pastimes of Krishna and his pure devotees. The highest high. The ripened fruit of transcendental knowledge is described, the most nectarian part of it all. So this chanting of Hare Krishna with others, that's what Sankirtan means, Sankirtan. Kirtan, the chanting of the holy name of the Lord, but Sang means with others, chanting, congregational chanting of the holy name of the Lord. So the intelligent people have taken this up, and the next verses go as follows, even far more far out. Well, it's all equally far out, I should say. Okay. My dear Lord, you are the Mahapurusha, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and worship your lotus feet, which are the only eternal object of meditation. Those feet destroy the embarrassing conditions of material life and freely award the greatest desire of the soul, the attainment of pure love of Godhead. So pure love of God is the only thing that satiates the soul. We want to be fully satiated. We don't want to, just get like a drop of water. You're really thirsty, you get a little drop of water. Oh, that was good. But did it fully satiate? Only pure love of God will fully satiate the soul. So, my dear Lord, your lotus feet are the shelter of all holy places and of all saintly authorities in the line of devotional service, and are honored by powerful demigods like Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma. My Lord, you are so kind so kind that you willingly protect all those who simply bow down to you with respect, and thus you mercifully relieve all the distress of your servants. In conclusion, my Lord, your lotus feet are actually the suitable boat for crossing over the ocean of birth and death, and therefore even Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva seek shelter at your lotus feet. So Krishna is his name. The name of Krishna is Krishna. So by chanting Hare Krishna, we're taking shelter. Krishna's lotus feet. And this is the process to carry us across this ocean of repeated birth and death to get to the spiritual world where there's no more. I think, at least for me, it's very painful to even think of the idea of going into a box this big for 9 months. Imagine if somebody would just go, okay, take a couple shelves out, we'll shut the door, and you live in that closet for a week. Oh, God, no. Well, okay, let's shrink it that big for 9 months. So knowledge, in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is saying that all these things leads to knowledge, is knowledge, and all the rest are ignorance. So one of those things within that group of things that he says is contemplating the problems of birth, death, disease, and old age. So that actually, he describes, that's one of the things that brings knowledge. That is knowledge. Remembering that these things are not good. They have its purpose. You want to use it for its purpose, yes, but you don't want to go into a box that big. So for 9 months, come out, oh, it's a boy, look, he's so cute. some like monstrous thing, it smells bad. And then he's a boy, I'm a boy. You start identifying with the body, and then, on and on and on. Work, you don't want to go to school, forced to go to school, and forced to do all this, go to work, all the rest. While trying to, get rid of diseases, and embarrassed by the body. Who's like, yeah, my body's awesome. Who really in their right mind really thinks that, right? It's always like an embarrassing thing. It's always not working right. So, anyway, sorry, I'm getting a little off track maybe here. So I worship your lotus feet. You gave up the association of the goddess of fortune and all her opulence, which is most difficult to renounce and is hankered after by even great demigods. So this is another reference to Lord Chaitanya. He actually renounced his wife was the goddess of fortune. And he ended up being remarried, and then he renounced that other wife, which was also the goddess of fortune. And he renounced his mother, which was, perfect mother, and left to take sannyas, renounced order of life, to spread the holy name all over the world, or to everyone, and perform all these amazing pastimes out of mercy, to give pure love of God, actually, to everybody, to make sure everybody drowned in the ecstasy of love of God, literally drowned. It's like we have material desires. I remember when I first joined, like, yeah, okay, Hare Krishna, but I wanted to win the Olympics. I like climbing mountains. Maybe I should do something really exciting. Like, maybe I should try to become a professional football player. I remember I had that thought come up. What the heck are you thinking? So, material desires, right? But Lord Chaitanya came and drowned everybody in love of God, to where those material desires, if a seed gets underwater for long enough time, it rots. It cannot sprout. It's dead seed. So these material desires are like seeds, and we get drowned in the kirtan, drowned in continuous devotional service to Krishna. Those seeds rot. They don't even come back again, and you're just left with pure love of God. That's the goal of life. Thus, O King, the Supreme Lord Hari is the giver of all desirable benefits of life. Intelligent, here we go. He's pointing out what the smart people are doing. Intelligent human beings worship the particular forms and names of different, worshiping God. Well, here we go, sorry. Those who are actually advanced in knowledge are able to appreciate the essential value of this age of Kali, the worst of ages, the winter of ages. Such enlightened persons worship this age, Kali Yuga, because in this fallen age, all perfection of life can easily be achieved by the performance of Sankirtan. How many people do you meet every day complain about the problems of the day, right? It's very easy to fall into that thing, you know. But it's good to recognize it's a wicked time. But here, and if you just kind of move into that world, you fall victim to all the problems. One good thing about the war in Iraq and Ukraine, of course, horrible thing. But we have this spiritual embassy of the world in Mayapur, India. It's the capital of the ISKCON movement. It's filled with Ukrainians and Russians chanting Hare Krishna, escaping the war. So, there's some benefits to things. So there's some intelligent beings that said, forget this. I'm going to take fully to Krishna service and just chant and perfect my life. So there's an example of such enlightened persons worship this age. The demigods. These are beings that live in the heavenly planets. Heaven is described as material in the Vedas. And spirit, so I'm not saying it's not that in the Bible, but the point is that these heavenly, like we think of eating chocolate, oh, that's heavenly. It's not spiritual, it's heavenly. So the amazing sense gratification, and you live an enormous long time, very hardly any suffering, but the suffering there is death. They want to take birth and have your experience to take in this age to chant Hare Krishna and get done. You finish up in one lifetime and go back to the spiritual world. In 50 years, you can do it. You can get done in 50 years. Whereas in millions of years, they're there. And it's so much sense gratification that they have trouble, focusing on their spiritual stuff. It's just like too much. Like in the hellish planets, it's too much suffering. They have trouble like concentrating. But here, it's a mixture of both. So people can. It's the best place, and in this age, Kali Yuga, it's the best time to take to the chanting of the holy name of the Lord. This is the incredible. My point is, this is an incredible. Here, the wisest beings that exist in the universe are teaching this king that this is the very, very, very best time for people. If they have enough intelligence, they have enough knowledge to take to the Sankirtan movement of chanting the holy name of the Lord. Really profound. I had this dream 2 nights ago. I'm in this huge house. It was actually an ashram temple-like thing, the house thing. And I saw smoke coming out of the ventilators, all of them. Like, it must be a fire. So I go down, and I'm going down to the bottom floor, and there's like this garage, and there was like, it's about to just, it's a huge fire in there that's about to just explode and burn down the house in moments. And I start to go to everybody, go, fire, get out now. And I remember there was one devotee who traveled with me for some time, but he kind of didn't make it very well. He had a tough time, I guess, getting out of bed in the morning, making the programs and things like that. And he was just like, yeah. I just kind of went back. And I go to the next, can I get up now? You got just a few minutes, gotta go. And they gotta be like, shut up, man, what's the matter with you? They didn't take me seriously. I'm flipping out. Like, literally, you're gonna die in about, probably 15 minutes max. You can be dead if you stay here. Really, for sure. And And everybody didn't take me seriously, and not really taking the situation seriously. And then as I read this, I thought of that dream, and that's the age we're in. People are just going super. I got this incredible, most incredible opportunity in the universe for all time in the universe, is what the wisest beings are saying. If I take to this Sankirtan mission, it is the best time now, Kali Yuga we're in this whole age, this whole universe, this Earth planet, as it goes into say. So, and you can get out in one lifetime and go back to the spiritual world. Just a few years, it's just sacrifice. And what can you enjoy in this material dimension anyways? You're not the body, we're spirit. What's worth going after? What would getting a gold medal in the Olympics do for me other than selling the gold and using it to buy more books and distribute them? But that probably get what, $3,000 out of that gold medal? I can go do that through book distribution anyway. So, why do I have to work so hard, so many years to get a gold medal? And then just, what's the value? Just look how awesome I am. That's all the value, but that's not valuable. According to the wisest beings, that's stupid. That's a dumb thing to do. The intelligent people here stating are worshiping this age because in this fallen age, all perfection of life can easily be achieved by the performance of Sankirtan. Easily. Prabhupada used that term. Easily achieved. Spiritual progress is easily made. He also used the word with book distribution. So sharing this, getting it, really getting it, and sharing it is how we magnify our spiritual life greatly. And you can share it through the kirtans, obviously, yeah. But just like they hear the chanting, it's wonderful and perfect. But if they get the understanding through the books, they'll get something from the chanting, of course, too. But the book distribution, Prabhupada's guru called the Brihad Mridanga, the great drum. Kirtan's got the drum, but the great drum, he calls it the book distribution, because they can read it, their friends can read it, and so they'll get an understanding, and they'll hopefully get this understanding and really take to this chanting in a serious way, and then share it with others to magnify it, to magnify your progress. So there's another one here. Indeed, there is no higher possible gain for embodied souls forced to wander through the material world than the Supreme Lord's Sankirtan movement. The most intelligent beings in the universe are teaching this wonderful king that's capable of understanding this. Indeed, there is no higher possible gain for embodied souls forced to wander throughout the material world than the Supreme Lord's Sankirtan movement. So Lord Chaitanya inaugurated the Sankirtan movement, where we're spreading the chanting of the holy names of the Lord all over the world. It's not just, okay, I'll chant Hare Krishna. It's all good. I'm going back to the spiritual world. Okay, that's there. But it's called the Sankirtan movement, where it moves. It moves. They chanted together. They chanted in his house, Srivasa's house. We're going to go to that house. It's awesome. And they chanted in that house. And they chanted in that house. And they chanted in that house. They did kirtan, where they were literally rolling on the ground, bouncing off the walls. It's described Lord Chaitanya's feet would touch his head, and then he would fall in ecstasy, and Nityananda would catch him, and then they would just like be roaring and screaming and everything. And the atheist neighbors would just be like, the Muslims are going to kill us. They're going to, they got to shut up. The Muslims, because they're under Muslim rule, and they kind of like, controlling about, didn't want Sankirtan to spread or things like that so much. So, and they'd be like, you guys just are so hungry, it's too hungry. You're so loud all night long. And they chant all night long and all day long, but they would just do it with themselves. But then they got to the point, it was like, Lord Chaitanya knows what he's doing, of course. He got it so that all the town became like, I want to join it. They're having fun, and I'm not having much fun. So they wanted to join. I'm like, no. Unless you're totally pure, you can join. So, and then eventually the whole town's like, we want to participate with this. So then an event was arranged so that they took it out of their house and took it to everywhere, literally everywhere. Lord Chaitanya had thousands and thousands, and I think hundreds of thousands of people following him. And they were all chanting like mad people. They were chanting so mad that it's described from various literatures, not just one person that maybe it's legit, various literatures describing this. They would have such transcendental potency that little boys would be ripping big trees out of the ground. Nityananda's followers, he made a whole bunch of coward boys or whatever, or just became devotees of Nityananda. They were literally, they would not sleep or eat for weeks. They would literally rip trees out of the ground. The people where Lord Chaitanya would stay, it would be so packed that people would be hanging on a branch this big. They would be able to sit on, 4 of them, to get a view of Lord Chaitanya, and it wouldn't break. They would cross rivers. So many of them don't know how to swim. Nobody got injured. On and on and on and on and on. Just like literally mad. Everybody was mad, completely mad in the ecstasy of love of God, completely unaware, completely of anything material. So we want to become madmen, mad people. Right? That's the real goal. In love of God, you're completely pure love of God, you're completely unaware of material surroundings. And that's the pure state of consciousness. So, repeating, or maybe I asked the question, of course, this is kind of silly, but what is the highest possible gain for us embodied souls who are forced to wander throughout the material world? Well, for those that aren't taking up spiritual life, what is our highest possible gain? Anybody remember? Yeah.
Joining the Sankirtan.
Joining the Sankirtan movement. Joining Lord Chaitanya's movement is the best thing for us and the best thing for others. Okay, now I think there's one more. My dear king, the inhabitants of Satya Yuga, that's the spring, the most beautiful time. You live a long time and you just sit and meditate. You hardly have to eat or move at all, and you're chanting Om. And that's for a long, long time. That's how you liberate yourself. And everything's practically no problems in the world at all. But that's not today's age. So in that age, that's what you did for perfection. So in Satyuga and other ages, eagerly, my dear king, the inhabitants of Satyuga and other ages eagerly desire to take birth in this age of Kali. So the people in that most pleasant experience time. You know, you can imagine, maybe you want to go to the mountains and take a break from all the troubles. It's like Satyuga, magnified greatly would be Satyuga. But they are desiring to take birth and have your experience in a most miserable material situation. Kali Yuga is the worst of the worst, and it just going to get worse. Since in this age there will be many devotees of the Supreme Lord Narayan. Let's describe Narayana Parayana. The Narayana Parayana, the pure devotee of the Lord, is extremely rare. Out of millions of those that are liberated souls, hardly one can you find a pure devotee of the Lord. And there's many of them, many. Birth time of Lord Chaitanya, you'll literally see 10,000 plus devotees that come from all over the world, all chanting the holy name of the Lord. And many other groups getting together too. Literally millions of people chanting the holy names of the Lord, at least 1 million, all chanting. Anyway, and so maybe I could just share a little bit more about how, so now I hope I've instilled at least the understanding that this is the most horrible of ages, but intelligent people look at this opportunity as the best opportunity possible in this material dimension for one to make progress spiritually and go back to the spiritual world very easily and quickly. Those are the words Prabhupada used. Quickly and easily make spiritual progress. And in one lifetime, Prabhupada's guru said it can be done in one lifetime. And even if you don't get done in one lifetime, you shouldn't delay it. But let's say you made so much 50% progress. In your next life, you start at 50%. So you're in a much better situation. Maybe your parents are chanting Hare Krishna. Come on, bow down to Lord Chaitanya now. Okay. As your little boy. Go Hare Krishna. They get together every night and they go Hare Krishna. You go Hare Krishna. You make much more progress. And you got some nice prasadam to eat. Not this stuff that some of us ate growing up. So, like that, My mother was wonderful. I'm sorry. But, still, it's different here. Right? So, right. And if you take to this fully, here it's stating, it's interesting how this so quickly leads one into becoming a pure devotee of the Lord. This is the power associating with Narada Muni, the greatest devotee of the Lord. He goes around, he just makes pure devotees. And then he says, O king, one who has given up all material duties and has taken full shelter of the lotus feet of Mukunda, like I do believe he has, maybe you as well. Okay, I give it all. I give up this material pursuit. Okay, all right. I can pass up my nonsense. After getting so much knowledge, it's like, well, why would I want to do anything but serve God? So, one who has taken full shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna and Mukunda, who offers shelter to all, is not indebted to the demigods, great sages, ordinary living beings, relative friends, mankind, or even one's forefathers who passed away. Since all such classes of living entities are part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, one who has surrendered to the Lord's service has no need to serve such persons separately. So you're free from all material obligations. It's called a walking dead man. You can just give it all up, like Jesus and all the Prabhupada and all the rest of the great souls have done. So that's always an option people want. So I'll stop there and maybe open it up for questions if you like. But I did want to also stress the importance of this book distribution. Can you do me a favor? Can you hand me that book right there? Yeah. Prabhupada says the most important activity. He said all of our activities lead to this one activity of book distribution. Here he says, the real preaching is selling books. We're giving them away if you don't want to, whatever, as long as they'll read it, won't throw them out. You should know the tactic, okay? You should know the tactic. These books and magazines are our most important propaganda weapons to defeat the ignorance of Maya's army. And the more we produce such literature and sell them profusely all over the world, the more we shall deliver the world from the suicidal course. So going back to where I started, that mentality of the materialist who doesn't have this knowledge. It's simply he doesn't have this knowledge, and that's why he's spending all of his energy and expanding family stuff and, false prestige and all the rest, because he thinks that's as good as it gets. But you gain these books, you realize, my God, there's Krishna, there's a spiritual world. I'm not this body. I'm spirit. I'm part and parcel of Krishna. Let me be who I am and experience immediately a whole nother ecstasy, whole nother much higher taste than what was available materially. All right. These books and magazines are our most important propaganda. So your work, speaking of the book distribution, is the most important preaching work. May Krishna bless you more and more. Thank you for helping me in this way. If he buys one book, his life may be turned. That is the best preaching work. That is advancement in Krishna consciousness, to stick tightly to the desire and orders of the spiritual master. Because my Guru Maharaj ordered it, and I am also ordering it. Go on preaching, spread this Krishna consciousness all over the world. As soon as I see such increased book distribution figures, I take that to mean that all the programs are successful. Some short ones here. So far as I understand, our book business is sufficient to support our movement. Whenever I get a report of my book selling, I feel strength. Even now in this weakened condition, I've got strength from your report. Prabhupada's, almost done with this world. You should know that in this work, you have Krishna's blessings. The book sales are very encouraging. I want this. Whatever progress we have made, it is simply due to distributing the books. So go on and do not divert your mind for a moment from this. Regarding Sankirtan and book distribution is Sankirtan. These are written kirtans, these books. So you have the chanting Hare Krishna kirtan, then you have written kirtan. So it's also Sankirtan. Anyone who reads the book, that is also chanting and hearing. Why distinguish between chanting and book distribution? These books I've recorded and chanted, and they are transcribed. It is spoken kirtans. So book distribution is also chanting. These are not ordinary books. It is recorded chanting. There's one person that I can get this right. Maybe someone correct me if I'm not, but I believe it was somebody who can read signatures and read, writings, people's writings, and then like people can read hands. And the person said, shocked, this person does not write with ink. This person is writing with fire. And anybody who comes in contact with this fire, these words, which are fire, they get purified. And they're not writing with ink. He's not writing with ink. And we see that. Anybody who comes in contact with these books, they get purified like anything. I meet them all the time. I was setting up a table at this one event, and I really inconvenienced the guy, but I told him it's okay. He said, all right. And, yeah, no problem. And he didn't have a problem with me there. I really messed up his gig. He was getting signatures. And he was I was shocked at how amazing this person was. Didn't get it all upset with me. And he was treating the people so beyond well. I was learning from him. I was, wow. So putting so much effort into it too. For signatures. And treating people so well. And at the end I said, I gotta tell you, you're the greatest signature guy I've ever met in my life. And then he just went, that Bhagavad Gita changed my life forever. He says, I got that book in 1972. He's an older guy. He says, I don't come out here to make money. I just come out here to meet the people and to be good with people. That book changed my life forever. And he started rattling off verses in the Gita. Changed his life forever. Immediately. And it was not an ordinary person. Totally changed. So book distribution must not be neglected. So if these are words not just to make Prabhupada more prestigious. That's not what Prabhupada's not there at all. At all. Completely not in his heart. He knows that this is just like his guru. This is what's best for you and best for the world. So the more we can practically spread the Sankirtan movement, the more we get Krishna in our life. The more quickly we get to that pure love of God, please. So anybody can go approach some of the people that work here and get books from them, and you can just go distribute them. And just if anybody wants a practical tip, it's amazing what a compliment can do. A genuine one. Like if I saw you in the street, I go, hey, I like your nice, saw the nice Om shirt, jacket. And then, here, love for you to take one of these. It's a book on yoga and meditation. Yeah, like a cool guy. Just you can leave a donation for it, it'd be really helpful. That's it. Compliment. Explain briefly. Yeah, it's for donation. Lots of books go out. Lots. And those people, and then give them an invitation card to here, the Sunday program or this program or whatever. And this, you want to all have a new temple. You're going to have one real quickly. People take this seriously. You're going to have so many people, you're going to have to build that thing in a heartbeat. Stop there. Any comments or questions? Yes?
We were talking about the power of these books, and it was reminding me of when I joined. And when I joined, it really wasn't like the chanting that first drew me in, because I had no idea what the devotees were chanting. Sometimes when they do kirtan, they know what they're chanting, but they don't always chant in a way that the public knows what they're chanting. So I didn't really know what was going on, although it sounded attractive, but also it wasn't the devotees, because some of them tried to tell me stuff at the beginning that was totally turned me off. But as soon as I got one of the books and started reading it, it was like, wow, you know, the philosophy really like hit me. So I wouldn't be here if it wasn't actually for the books. And then I told this story to a few other people, but later, when I was in the emergency room earlier this year, I met a woman that was reading Bhagavad Gita in the emergency room. She had a miscarriage. And I said, oh, you got that book? She said, yeah, it changed my life. I got it 18 years ago. She had no idea who the devotees were, no idea what the temple was. She just got it from somebody who she bought a bicycle from.
Oh, okay. I love that.
And they gave her a Bhagavad Gita, and she's been reading it ever since. So you can see in the Bhagavad Gita how she kind of marked it
All
out.
right.
Marked it. All sorts of things. So,
Right on.
yeah, you never know.
A lot of people here that are super into spirituality don't even know of this place. You just giving people cards to the restaurant would be a great help. That's spreading Sankirtan mission. So many people. I met them. I served books at Mount Rushmore. I got a table there. People come up to me, you know, from all over, and some come from Tucson. They take the whole stack. They give a huge donation. Obviously, really into it. And they say, "Where are you from?" Tucson. Oh, you know about Govindas? No. So I mean, I told them about it. They're like, "Oh, well, I'm definitely going there." So, you know, it's somehow connecting people here more and more. That's what the topmost spiritual beings in the spiritual world call gopis, the lovers of God. They'll do anything for God. And their mood is they just want to bring Radharani closer to Krishna. And Radharani, the topmost servant of God, she wants to bring everybody else closer to Krishna. So this is the mood, bringing other people closer to Krishna. This is the topmost mood. And automatically by doing that, you get closer to Krishna. There's a story taught by a Buddhist monk. There was a lady trying to climb the mountain, and getting to the top was the goal of life, whatever. And she got to a point where there's like just 8 feet wall. Can't get it. And then some lady behind her goes, "Hey, great, can you give me a hand to get up?" And she's like, "I want to get up there, but you know, I guess that's appropriate thing to do." Okay, yeah, sure. You just get on my back and you can get up there. And so she, you know, the lady crawled on her shoulders, and then she got up. But in the second she got up, she found herself at the top. So that's how it works. You help other people advance in Krishna consciousness. We're making amazing advancement. The more you give Krishna, Prabhupada says, the more you get Krishna. And these books are definitely not different from Krishna. Any other comments or questions? I don't want to keep you from your nice meals, but here to help people get closer to Krishna because I'm greedy. So Krishna. That's the way to use greed in Krishna service. How can I help you get closer to Krishna, please? Any comments or questions?
What's the name of the book on the bottom?
Srimad Bhagavatam. The whole set's up there, and we can sell you one if you want. Yeah, really. And proof that we're talking legit stuff is, I don't know, hundreds of years ago when, you know, some European famous person came through India, went, "Hey guys, the Garden of Eden's not in Europe, it's in India. You guys got to check out this literature." And he was very well respected. And that got word out in Europe, and all the super elite intellectuals that know all Latin and all these things, you know, super bright ones, went down there and devoured this literature. They translated this Purana, the Bhagavad Purana, more than all the other Puranas combined. Topmost book. Unbelievable. In fact, Gadadhar, that's Radharani, that's God, expansion of God. When he was here, and this 500 years ago, he cruised through, and when he read the Srimad Bhagavatam constantly, and they would have to rewrite it before he read it because so many tears would flood on the books. They couldn't read it after he'd read it. So they'd have to rewrite it before he read it regularly on a regular daily basis. Yeah.
What does an expansion of God mean? Is that like another soul, or is that like God?
Right. Just it's described that a candle, if it lights another candle, it's the same flame quantity and everything else. But that original candle, that's the first candle, is the original candle. So Krishna is the original candle, and he expands himself. First expansion is Balaram. Balaram is in charge of all kinds of stuff. And then this we will relate to more. And then it expands again is the Chaturvyuha, and then another expansion, and about the fifth, whatever, bunch of expansions later, you have Mahavishnu. The person on the left is Mahavishnu, Advaitacharya, and that incarnate. And from each one of his pores comes a material universe. Then he expands himself again into each universe and sits on the water there, fills up part of the universe in water, and then from his lotus navel comes Lord Brahma, who is empowered. Brahma is not God. He's usually somebody like us, but an incredibly pious being that's capable, where God empowers him to create the universe. And then God expands himself again. And not the universe, the universe. That's one universe. And then he expands himself again into the hearts of all living entities. And they're all working independently. Like that Leela, that pastime of God, Lord Chaitanya, he's got expansion. There's a few other expansions that were at that time. And they're all just performing completely independently. And that's how powerful God is. And he's not only doing that in one universe, but at the same time, he's doing that in Goloka Vrindavan, a different thing in Goloka Vrindavan. And that's just one spiritual planet. And there's lots of spiritual planets. And each planet is an expansion of them as a Vishnu, different kind of Vishnu, all operating completely independently. That's gives us a hint as to how amazing God is.
So not all souls are expansions of God.
We're all part of God, but we're under the category of what's called marginal energy. God's three main energies is material energy and mountains and all that. And the spiritual energy, the spiritual world, it's got mountains and everything there too, but spiritual. And there's the marginal energy, which is us. I'm not you, you're not me, we're not God, but we're equal in quality. Just like the salt, and we have the choice to be either controlled by God's material energy or his spiritual energy. We have that ability, that free will. Yeah. And but we're equal in quality with God, just like the salt water. The drop of salt water is the same as the ocean, in a sense, be the same quality, but not quantity. Is that okay? Good question.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Um,
How can I get more prasadam? I can tell you all about it.
No, you're talking about, like the need to like spread this movement, and you're talking like, we don't want to sit and just like chant and keep to ourselves. We want to go out and spread it. And I was thinking on the other side of things, like if we don't have the purity ourselves, it's so difficult to spread ourselves. I wonder if you can talk about that and talk about a little about how we get that purity and that we get that purity to spread Krishna consciousness.
Yeah. I mean, ideally, you want to have it as an overflow of your sadhana, of your spiritual practices. Doing spiritual practices properly fills you up, and then it overflows by, just want to share this. But even in your sharing, you just don't want to only share. You got to, for ours, where we're at, it's recommended to spend certain amount of time on our first self. It's like if you only give what you got. So it's kind of like we're on an aircraft carrier that's crossing the ocean of repeated birth and death, going to the spiritual world. And on that aircraft carrier, you have the cooks and you have the on and on and on. And then you also have the guys with the life preservers, and they're throwing out the life preservers to get the guy that's in the ocean and bring him on the ship. But if that person doesn't have his intelligence so well intact, he might fall overboard. You might think, wow, they look like they're having more fun than me, all kinds of things. So, yeah, you might lose your opportunity. You might fall off the ship. So our own personal sadhana means spiritual practices, taking time out, chant our rounds and things like that, go to 10 classes, read the books, Prabhupada's books, then that's needed, a certain amount of time to do that. And also, if one is, I want to say if one's ready, but it's amazing how much you get even when you're not ready, sharing it. You might think, well, I'm not ready. I'm not pure enough. A lot of people fall into that trap. I'm not pure enough to share it. Let me get purified first. But actually, by sharing it, you do get purified. But there's been many even great beings that have fallen away from the movement by only sharing and not taking time out to do their spiritual practices themselves. So it's a combination of both. Is that okay?
Thank you. Yeah. I just want to say that I had to go get the Prasad Rainbow. From what I heard, that was a fantastic class.
There's a balance with it because you just share it too much and don't feed yourself, then you can fall away. And if you only just sit in your room and just chant, you can also, get a little weird. Yeah.
So are most of the deities still like in Maya? Like, from my understanding, like I think I heard that Brahma is like illusion still, and it's like if Brahma is like speaking the Vedas and chanting all the time, why is it the case that these deities are still like under illusion?
Well, Brahma is not somebody that we worship. Brahma is a jiva just like us. He's not God, and he's not necessarily a pure devotee of the Lord. So he's a demigod. Demigods says in the Bhagavad Gita that if one worships a demigod, he has lost his intelligence. Because the demigods are like a leaf on the tree. You're intelligent, you don't water the root, and you're a leaf on the tree too, just maybe a smaller leaf. And then watering a leaf is not going to give you any benefit. But if you water the roots, then automatically you're benefited and everybody else is. It's like worshiping Krishna, serving Krishna. But serving the demigods and worshiping the demigods doesn't make sense. Whatever benefit you get from the demigods, anyways, would be given by Krishna anyways. So if you're going to but you only get really material benefits, generally speaking. I mean, they can't give you liberation. They're not liberated, so they can't give you liberation. Only Krishna can give you liberation.
I guess I was more wondering, like, why aren't they devotees? Like,
They are devotees, but they're not necessarily pure devotees. Just the pure devotees are in the spiritual world, or they're fully engaged in the Sankirtan movement. And there's devotees, but they have material desires as well. And that's generally what the demigods are. They're here in this material world. Their bodies are going to die. They experience disease, death, old age. They suffer, but they're devotees. And they're helping Krishna in his mission it's kind of like there's a king that's not part of this probably isn't the best analogy, but a demigod would be considered something like a prisoner who's gotten some extra by helping the government while he's a prisoner. He gets some benefits, bigger screen TV, nice, maybe some more freedom to roam around, those kind of things. But he's still a prisoner. He lives in a gold plated jail cell with a big screen TV extra plate of prasadam. But he worships God too, to get all that. But he's not totally purified. He still has material desires. And generally speaking, 33 million of them.
Is Brahma the same thing as Brahman?
No.
No.
Brahman means spirit. And Brahma is the jiva soul, almost always a jiva soul, that has performed the varnashram system, which is the perfect system for gradually elevating the soul back to the spiritual world. He's done that. I forgot how many times. I think it's 100 times perfectly. And that's like the best, most pious being in the universe. And so he's given the opportunity to create, to be in charge of the universe in a sense, and create the universe, powered by God to create the universe. Imagine getting that much mystical abilities to do such a thing. He's extremely intelligent. And you want to hear a funky twist on all this? All right. So in this Leela, 500 years ago, when Lord Chaitanya was here, Brahma came down, played the role of Haridas Thakur, and he perfected his mission here. He chanted Hare Krishna constantly. And Maya, the illusory energy of God herself, went to test him. She played the role of an incredibly great-looking prostitute, tried to captivate him. And he's like, well, he's just chanting in his hut. Here she is. It's like, captivate anybody that's not a pure devotee. And he's chanting 300,000 names of God a day, chanting Hare Krishna mantra, 300,000 names of God a day. And she goes, well, don't worry, you can, I'll fulfill all your desires. Don't worry, because I would like to, you're so handsome, use this and that, and I'd like to. And he goes, I'll fulfill all your desires. Just, I need to finish my rounds. So he's chanting. And so she's thinking, okay, well, a couple hours, maybe you'll be done. And so she hangs out with him all night long, and he's chanting all night long. And then she comes, I'm so sorry, I didn't finish my rounds. You come back the next day. And so she comes back the next night. It's like, okay, for sure, I got him now. I'm almost done with my rounds. Just stay here. I'm almost done. Just keep chanting. So the chant, and after a while, after her hearing this pure devotee chant Hare Krishna, after a while she starts going Hare Krishna. She's late at night. She's exhausted. She starts just going Hare Krishna along with him. Hare Krishna. She gets radically purified. So she gets initiated into the chanting of the holy name of the Lord. But I'm kind of twisting a couple leelas here. Anyway, I am. Yeah, thank you. That was a real prostitute that did that. I mean, not Maya. And then Maya came later and had a similar experience where she could not captivate Brahma's mind. And so, anyway, the real prostitute. Thank you. She her desire became, I just now want to become a pure devotee of the Lord. So then he's like, well, I told you I'm going to, fulfill all your desires. So this is now your desire. And she became a great devotee. And then Maya came later as a prostitute to do the same thing. And she ended up becoming initiated into the Sankirtan movement. So, sorry, I twisted around a couple of stories, but they're extremely similar. So you get the theme of what I'm saying. So that was Brahma. So Brahma became pure devotee, totally purified pure devotee, according to my understanding. Yeah, there we go. Confirmed by the great Pandit.
So that all the demigods in the Bhagavad Mahatmya
Yeah.
describes all the demigods, Lord Indra, Lord Brahma, they all, they had committed offenses in Krishna Lila, and they had been impure. They all took birth in the Sankirtan movement to perfect their life.
Smart, right?
Lord Chaitanya's name is Vishwambar, so he's liberated everybody in the universe.
Yeah. A lot of inconceivable stuff going on.
Also, it was like the first prostitute, how they she shaved her head, and not only did he like give her the laundry and everything? Like, he initiated her, and then he gave her like his place.
Right.
Staying, and he left. And she stayed there with the whole
Right.
It was even far out in the beginning of that story. When she came to him as a prostitute and she saw the whole plan, she paid her own basis. So it showed that she had some like piety or something. Like
Mhm.
She paid her own basis.
Yeah. Adjusted to the custom. Thank you.
How exactly does book distribution work? You just take it upon yourself to pick the books, like, and figure out like a process of how you do it? Because I didn't even know this place existed. My dad showed me the Bhagavad Gita, and I was just trying to give it to people because it's like, it's a Gita. And when I found this place and we took book distribution, I was like, I'm a little bit plugged in. Like I bought a box of Gitas and I'm giving it to people I, think have the propensity to process it appropriately. I don't know if that's
Yeah.
the right way to do it.
Yeah.
How it's all.
Well, I mean, the way I do it, I mean, everybody's got their own kind of thing, but we've distributed 500 million literatures in the world. A lot of people have taken this up. And there's billions that have never even heard of this. So the practical way to do is this sound good? You go to him and he'll give you books at the cost or whatever that you're comfortable with, or you can order them directly from our place that we ship them to. Either way, that way you have books. And it's just easy to get the books once you know how. Really easy, no problem. And then just really, I had to go to Walmart to exchange my propane tank, sleep in my van, it gets cold. So I went to Walmart, and when I was in Walmart, I went, oh man, this guy looks like he'd take a book, and that guy too. I was like, this is a good town. I grew up here, and forgot how this is a better place than most places for spreading of Krishna consciousness. Easier, I should say. People are more receptive. So I would probably, if I lived here, I would be going through Walmart parking lot or wherever, or anything, and just approaching people that with a certain style you might want to learn. Because I started distributing books and suffered like anything because I didn't have a method that was very good. And then when I spent a little time with somebody who's distributing tons of books really easily, I just kind of learned how he did it and just adopted that. And then a lot of books went out. So, and people were happy and I was happy, rather than making people upset and all the rest. I'm not saying you do it like that, but I did. Yeah.
How many books have you distributed?
12. I really have. I'm serious. 12. I did 15 actually.
How many books have you distributed like all your life?
15. 16. I did distribute 16 books. I'm serious.
And how many books did Krishna distribute?
17 as well. Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about how you joined?
She's the cause of it right there. Actually, I was climbing the yoga ladder, studying with a shaman, fasting and juicing, and living at a Sikh ashram, studying with Yogi Bhajan, serving him, and then I was serving a Siddha guru, Siddha yoga, and just gradually. And I got to the point where I learned originally from my mom, because I was so depressed, and she said, well, if you help other people. So I started to get involved with spirituality and helping and trying to do that. But then I realized I remember mopping the floor at the Sikh ashram and realizing just helping people, I just want to be an instrument for helping. I didn't have a conception of God so well at that point. And then I went, about that time, I remember going to my room and realizing, I had this realization that, oh my God, I'm living in a dark universe. I realized everywhere is darkness. This material universe is dark. Oh my God. And then I got scared. And so I remembered a verse from the Bible. It says, if you knock, he will answer. So literally, I just got some wood and went like that. We literally did that. And the phone rang. She never calls me. And back then, you never, I don't think you ever did. Maybe once on my birthday or something. Oh, and I went there. Hi, this is Elizabeth. I'm sorry. I just got to tell you right now, though, that God's telling me that really strongly that it's just want to let you know that God's telling me to tell you that it's time for you now to serve God. And I went, yes, that's the ultimate helping. I just all the bells turned on. I went, and then the next morning I did the Kundalini yoga with the Sikh leader there every morning at 4 a.m. And then after that, she goes, well, sorry, but you got to double your rent here. Oh. And it was Sunday morning. And I went, man, okay, well, at least tonight I get to go to Govinda to go to the Sunday program. I would eat here twice a day. Mother Sandamani says she had to kick me out every day. I would just eat in a book room. I watch Prabhupada's videos and just eat and I'd fall asleep. It's time to go. Lunch and dinner, huge. I would eat 22 pieces of halva. I count them, 22 pieces of halva a day. And I guess I got some purification. And I found out about Sunday program. So then I went to the Sunday program, and then they said, well, you're always here. Why don't you just move in? I'm like, oh, thank God. This is perfect. I didn't know who God was at that point or what service to God was, but that kind of let it all work. It was actually really far out and cool. Really innocently. I was just like really super. I mean, it was just, I don't know, naive or whatever. It was a really cool time. So she's the cause of all these books going out. She's the original cause. Each of our, all 17. That's right. 17. I did 18 too. Okay. Any other comments or questions? My goal, though, you know what my goal is? I remember Navina Nirada, he's an amazing book distributor. He said, I'm still working on my first million. So we should have a goal of millions. Wouldn't that be cool? Get into the millions category. Wouldn't that be cool?
How long have you been distributing?
25 years. 1997, I think, on. Whatever that is. Yeah.
So you joined here. How long did you stay here before you left?
I never left. I've been here. No, in a sense. But I was here about 4 or 5 years. They sent me to Hawaii to work on a project. They sent me to New Mexico to work on a project. Sent me to LA to get some book distribution training. So it's like a mixture of 5 years there until I started just living in a van and travel all the time. Yeah. Something like that. Yeah, what an adventure. Wow. We're very fortunate. Extremely fortunate to be able to serve your incredible opportunity. If anybody wants to take it up, and even just for a little bit of time, it's so amazing. It really is. And I've been to, I don't know, all temples, a lot of temples. This is definitely the easiest one to plug in to for a non-Indian. There's nothing wrong with being Indian, but like a lot of them are just only in India, you know, for even Indians, it's a great place to plug into. Assume you got Indian body. So, you know, no, really, it's for everybody, of course. But a lot of temples are just all Indian, so a little tough to plug in. But for anybody, I think this is my favorite place out of all the temples. Live in that. So nice, so sweet. Mother Sandamani is the real saint. Unbelievable. Anyway, it's always available. You know, if the authorities allow.
Did you use the travel with Bridget in that?
Yeah.
I saw you
That's where I met you. You came to Gainesville. And you did a,
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, I always liked it.
Yeah, another saint that person is. Yeah. But hey, if you want, anybody wants to take a book distribution, we're all here to help. You really take time out to really foster that, germinate that, or whatever.
Once campus opens up, we're always welcome. I invited you. Welcome to come. I know you work in the daytime a lot, but during a weekday we go there.
But even if when you go out at night, if you ever do, even if just train up somebody would be good, or anything along those lines. Because once they get it, much more will happen.
And then on the Harinam, we do Harinam, but I'm usually engaged in kirtan, but you were able to take a bag of books. There's a lot of books like that, especially if I'm not used to live here. So
You could provide training for them too. Really, he'll guide you through the whole thing and make it so much easier.
I learned from everybody he trained. So I distribute books, but I learned from his he trained.
I got trained. Prabhupada Prabhu, yeah. Prabhupada Prabhu is distributed, I think, like 600,000 letters. Amazing. Yeah, I mean, really amazing beings have shared, years. It's just like tuning fork, come in contact with a tuning fork, you just quickly get tuned rather than trying to tune yourself. It just makes it sense. Getting a little bit of training really helps a lot. Of course, that pure, just I want to do it. That's beautiful. We don't want to mess that up. But
It blew my mind when I found out that was like what you're supposed to do. Like that's the thing. I'm like,
you naturally were inclined that way. Yeah, I meet people like you every now and then. So they've been trying to distribute the books, and some of them never met devotees ever, and they're out there distributing books. I met people like that. Well, who are you? Well, I'm one guy. One guy I knew he never met devotees. He said, "Yeah, I've been trying to practice this. I've been practicing Ekadasi." Like, Ekadasi? What's Ekadasi? Ekadasi? I guess so. Ekadasi. Yeah. Like, he doesn't know he hasn't been around devotees, but he's practicing Krishna consciousness just because he got a book. And he loved it so much, he's trying to share it and trying to practice it. Amazing. We're so fortunate to have devotee association, take advantage of it and share it, bring other people to it. That's when you really get Krishna's just like, wow, it blows my mind how much mercy you get by sharing this with others. It completely blows my mind. Krishna is
Omar's gonna get
so pleased. Yeah, I know. Right on. Prabhupada's guru said, if an insignificant brahmachari, just someone like me, nobody even knows about, goes out and distributes one or two little tiny pamphlets and brings in a couple pice, which is like not even a rupee, not even close to a rupee, like practically nothing. Prabhupada said his guru would be so pleased, like super pleased. One time Prabhupada was giving a lecture in the airport when you come through, and some airport, and tons of devotees are there. They're like fighting to get in first line and everything. And people that were living that kind of mentality, they're sitting up front, and probably giving this lecture. And he said the whole time his eyes were just on these two distributors that were missing the lecture and just trying to distribute books outside the lecture. It was the whole time his attention was there. So I mean, so much mercy, it's unbelievable. It's completely. I mean, really, when I was 19, I guess I became like born again Christian or whatever, and I or 18, and they gave me the list of what to study in school: engineer, doctor, teacher. I was like, I don't want to do any of this. But those people that I read about in the Bible that were serving Jesus, they were having a really good time. And so I said, I want to become a saint. Not that I am, but I said, that's what I want to be. And literally by doing this, the experiences that you get completely shatters the brain. Everything completely blows your mind. If I'm not going to do this probably, maybe right before I die, if we can get it. If I were to share, like write a book, and people were to read it, the experiences, the spiritual experiences you get from this, people would, it would just flip out everybody completely. I mean, and that's just not me. I'm not the only one having it. But as you distribute large quantities of books, you just get so much mercy in the form of downloads. Actually, it's the Vedas say that as you serve the guru, to that degree that you serve the guru, to that degree Krishna reveals himself, and that includes so many things. And Prabhupada says, if you really want to please me, distribute my books. So, okay, I want to apply this, and it's completely a whole different world. I mean, it's absolutely, completely mind-blowing. And it's addicting. It's so addicting. It's more addicting than heroin, I'm sure. And that's, Prabhupada says, that's the pure state of consciousness. To be addicted to spreading to Krishna. That's the pure state. So it's a quick and easy. He calls it this is the quick and easy path for spiritual life. It's easy. It's not difficult to do. It's so quick. It's so beyond quick, because Krishna wants us back home more than we want to get back home. Krishna arranges everything so you can distribute books. Weather, everything. I can't tell you how many times have I set up my table and distributing books, and the weathercast says I usually finish at 4 or 5, and weather is going to have a huge thunderstorm at 1 p.m. I'm like, should I go out or not? I feel Krishna going, go, go, go. Okay, all right, we'll go on. And then everything's arranged. Everything. All of a sudden, the body's working just so easily. Pushing the cart. Sometimes I push the cart. I'm not kidding you. I remember pushing up a hill and just going, oh, this is going to be rough. And I'm going, I can almost like let go of the cart. No joke. And the cart's moving. What the heck is going on? and the books, everything's just going so easy. And I think, oh, nobody's going to take books. Look at them, And all of a sudden, people come up, wow, I love this stuff. Is 100 okay? Yeah, sure. Okay. Remember when I was so worried about money, trying the new spot, Mount Rushmore, just things weren't going as far as like quantity of money coming out. Will I be able to sustain myself this way? Just when I had that thought, two people came up to me and they just smiled, and both of them gave me 100. Didn't even take any book. Prabhupada says, if you just focus on this one activity of book distribution, you never have to worry about Lakshmi. Lakshmi is the goddess of fortune. You never have to worry about money. We're down right on the border of Mexico. People are so poor. We're letting the books fly. And this one devotee is like probably way under. And he looks in Mexico, on the border, you cannot find a penny on the ground anywhere. Here in America, okay, you can find a quarter even. And you can't even find a penny, no way. And he looks down. He's been distributing books at this spot for a long time. And he looks down on the ground and he sees a whole ton of money. Things just manifest, I swear. It's the amazing thing. When I was on the Mexico side and the kids came out of school, and one of them looked so cute. He said, "Can I get one?" And I'm like, "Oh man, you're so cute. I don't have any money." "Yeah, please take it. You're really cool." And once I did that, 300 of them. And so I gave out like 300, and I asked for donations. Actually, some of them gave me the lunch money or whatever. So I recovered part of it, but cases went out. There's 200 to a case, really small, so probably more than 300. And I'm like, oh man, I couldn't not. The kids were so cute, and they were really serious. They look seriously interested because they don't have anything. You go to their house, they got maybe 4 books on the bookshelf, the Bible and whatever else. Well, that book will be on the bookshelf for generations. Wow, it's good preaching. So, but on the way back,
very entertaining too. It's just constantly like epic battles, and just like the most like the highest thing happening you could possibly think of. It'd be very entertaining for a kid that's like, oh yeah, the only other book we have is the Bible, which is terrifying.
That's right. Yeah, this is quite colorful literature, especially the pictures.
I heard the same thing happens in Cuba. I know some of the brothers that have gone or have stuck books into Cuba and into this communist. They have to be a little bit more low key about it. They said people will just come to you like, "Oh, can I have one? Can I?"
a lot of them don't have money to cover it. Now things work in that country. So they've gotten a few devotees to like sponsor books when they take it down there so they can just do that book. You have no problem getting people to take a book there. They're just like, they're so desperate for it.
And even if you don't get them sponsored, Krishna will cover it. I was after that, an hour later, I was at the cars as they blocked up to go into the America side. And trying to distribute a book to this one gal. I swear she looked like an angel. She's glowing. And she didn't say a word. And she just smiled at me like anything. I'm like, this is weird, but I can feel the auspiciousness here in a big way. She's handed me all the money to cover all those books. This happens literally anytime, all the time. I have this heart. I was distributing books at the LA airport, going around the terminals. Then my flap of my shoe started to fall off, you know, like the bottom. And And so I started thinking about what kind of shoes I'm going to buy. And then it falls all the way off. And I'm like, oh no, I can't walk on this anymore. And then I thought, I got to give up Sankirtan and I'll go to the store. Oh no. And then I walked literally probably 10 more feet as I'm going back to the van to go and get some spicy shoes somewhere and give up my day of Sankirtan. Those exact same shoes that I had in my mind were right there. Exact ones were right there. How is this possible? These things happen on a regular basis. Not to mention, I remember when I was first starting to travel around, I just got my Toyota little truck. Back then, they were little. And I went to Flagstaff. There's snow on the ground. I'm like, oh gosh, and tons of books went out. I remember doing japa the next morning. It's 20 something degrees out. I don't have a heater in there. I slept in my van right there on the campus property. Even no cop kicked me off. Thank God. When I was doing japa, I can't begin to describe to you what I experienced. I mean, you read those Krishna books, you can have that experience as you're doing chanting Hare Krishna. A lot when you go and distribute a bunch of books.